Alright, hello everybody and a very warm welcome to the latest episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. I'm shooting some episodes in advance because I'll be attending the Blackpool Soul Festival and I wanted to make sure that you get your weekly fix of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco. And I'm looking forward to it, and I hope I can shoot some footage there and give you some impressions about the Blackpool Soul Festival. I'm really excited about that. In the meantime, this week it's an absolutely special for me because I found out about that singer by accident. I was listening to a friend's playlist and he had a song there playing, Midnight Affair. It's a typical 70s disco flavored song, but the voice of that singer, that had something catchy. And I was like, who is that singer? And he said, well, it's Sandra Wright. And I was like, oh, I never heard of her. And he said, well, me too, but, she made some great stuff. But, yeah, that's it as far as I know. I said, okay. So I went home and looked her up, and what can I say? She created, in my opinion, one of the greatest soul 70s album out there. And I'm really excited that I have it in my collection. I got it for a very decent price. I traded in some stuff, so I didn't need to pay the $80+ which is now recommended, or not recommended, but is now being asked for if you want to have an original 1989 pressing. Now you are asking, it's a 70s soul song disco flavored thing, and the album is from 1989. Well, that's correct, because the album was originally recorded in 1974, in October 1974 in Alabama. And the album never got released. This is, like I said, the original 1998 record of that album. In 2015, a record store day release came out with a remastered version of that album with a new artwork and everything. It's very affordable. It's for $30 or less. You can even get it. It's a limited edition to 750 and you can still buy it. So my recommendation is go for it. This album is tremendously good. I listen to it all the time, and you can find it on Spotify, you can find it on YouTube. Have a listen to it. You will be as ecstatic about it as I am. I'm pretty sure about that. So let's have a listen to it. So yeah, this is magic. This music is magic. So, like I said, this is the original pressing. Pricing is from 80 euro upwards to, I even saw one version for 150 euro, which is, it's pretty insane. Here's a nice picture of Sandra Wright. Yeah, this is the front. You can see there's a lot of text on the back, and I'm going to read that to you because it tells a little bit about that story, and I think the story is super exciting. Here is the, I'm out of my MoFire and vinyl storage solution sleeves, so I had to go back to the Japanese ones. So this is side 1, this is side 2, and I'm also out of distilled water, so I cannot really clean it, but that's another story. So, yeah, I would say let's get to the back. Usually I'm not reading so much to you guys, but it's a great story, and if you buy the reissue, you have an even more detailed story, at least from the picture I've seen from the reissue. So Yeah, let's go for it. Like I said, recorded in October 1974. The Memphis horns, the Muscle Shoals horns were included in it. Also the Memphis horns with Ben Cowley trumpet, and it was produced by David Johnson. It was engineered by David Johnson and Bill Fair and remixed by David Johnson. Licensed from Broadway Productions. Okay, the picture is also from David Johnson. So David Johnson was pretty much very relevant at that time for that record. So I'm going to read this for you guys. So early in 1974, I called Freddie North to let him know that I had finished working on his album I had produced. Freddie said, "Good. Now that you are finished with my album, come to Nashville. I want you to hear a female singer that I feel is great and I know that you will love." I went to Nashville a week later to a club on Church Street. I can't remember the name of the club. And I heard what was the best female R&B singer I had heard in a long time, Sandra Wright. I was so impressed with her, I told Freddie that night that I wanted to produce some product on her. He took me to the dressing room and introduced me to Sandra, and the deal was made. For the next 4 months, I spent many hours listening and looking for the right songs for Sandra. Then in October, we were ready. Went into the studio and recorded what was the best session I had ever been involved in at that time. I was so excited. I finished mixing the album at 5:30 a.m. on a Monday morning and got on the airplane to New York at 6:45 a.m. the same morning. Today that would be impossible. With all the security things and all, you need to be at least 2 or 3 hours on the airport before you go. But anyway, I visited every record label in New York that week and had offers from all but one. I've never been back to that one label. I was very excited and happy for Sandra and myself, but was not sure which company would be the best to put her with. All of the offers were so different and each had its own merit. An example, Brunswick Records, a company that was not high on my list to work with, wanted it real bad. They did not want to pay me the price I was asking for, but offered to let me produce an album on Jackie Wilson for them if I would let them have the album on Sandra at their price. This really tempted me because Jackie Wilson was one of my all-time favorite artists. I came home to decide which company would be the best for this product. On the plane ride home, I read in Billboard magazine that Stax Records was the number 3 record label in sales at that time and the top independent label in the world. They were known for their great R&B records on acts such as the staple singers, Luther Ingram, Johnny Taylor, Isaac Hayes, Mel and Tim, and so on. I decided then that I would call Stax Records. As soon as I touched the ground and set up an appointment to play Sandra's product, Stax at that time did not have a female artist that was doing much. It appeared that Stax was the company to have Sandra with. They were such a hot R&B company, plus they were located only 130 miles away from my home. I called and got an appointment with Jim Stewart, president of the company, for the next day. I played him the product and the reaction was just as it had been in New York. Jim loved it. He did not question anything I asked for. He obviously was very excited about the product. We shook hands on the deal that day and decided that the first single would be Wounded Woman. He took me around the company and introduced me to everyone there, from the executive officers to the mail room. Everyone was excited about the artist and the product. The first release was set for January 1975. 2 weeks before the release date, Jim called me and asked if I could come to Memphis for a meeting with him. At a meeting, Jim told me that the record would be released on his new label, Truth Record, instead of the Stax label. He assured me that there would be no difference, that the Stax organization would still be handling the record, but that he was simply starting another label. At first, I was somewhat disappointed because I was looking forward to be involved with Stax label and the reputation it had. But Jim was such a great man, and I felt confident that he would break Sandra, so I decided that it would be just as great being the first hit on Jim's new label. 2 weeks later, Wounded Woman was released on Truth. I started doing the usual checks on the record and quickly realized something was happening at Stax that did not feel good. Each week, a different person was in charge of promotion, and rumors were in the air that Stax was having serious internal problems. Response to Wounded Woman started off great, but soon the promotion department's turnover started showing their advice effect. Before long, the record was over. Jim told me that a second single was necessary, so we decided to go with the ballad Loving You, Loving Me. I never knew what the response to this record really was. Everybody was leaving Stax, and I could not find out any information or even who to call to that knew anything about my product. That was the end of Stax and the album release that never happened. I still remember the magic that was in that session. It was obvious to everyone involved that Sandra Wright would be the next Lady of Soul. The sad part is that not only did Stax go down, the tube, so did Sandra Wright. The disappointment of losing what everyone said was a great product left Sandra doubting the industry and herself. I got a budget from CBS Records to cut 3 sides on her immediately after Stax went out of business, with the option to do an album. She would not come in to record. 2 years later, she made one other attempt in the studio with producer Barry Beckett, but the feeling was gone. David Johnson. So, at first, I was a little angry with David Johnson because what he had was very special. Everybody knew it, he knew it. It's pretty tough to judge looking back with the informations we have today, but a different decision might have led to Sandra Wright's big career because she had the talents and all of that. But I'm happy that he found her, and I'm happy that he made the decision to record her, and it's pure magic. It's absolutely pure magic. The thing is, that record did not get released, and the songs they were so strong and so great material that one of the songs from that session ended up being recorded by no other than Aretha Franklin for her 1975, of course, Atlantic album. And at the late 80s, Sandra Wright, with the release of that album, found a new audience, and she toured a little bit. Sadly, she passed away, I think, in 2010. And but she could relive that thing, and you should get it. You can thank me later for getting it. Like I said, the material was so strong. Aretha Franklin recorded "I'm Not Strong Enough to Love You Again," and with all the respect to the Queen of Soul, to Lady Souls, to the songstress, to the legend, I must admit, in my humble personal opinion, that Sandra was killing that song. Her version is, in my opinion, tremendously, tremendously better than the version of Aretha Franklin. With all respect to Aretha Franklin, you should compare these songs, have a listen to it, and I'm almost sure that you may have the same impression as I do have. Well, so have a listen to it. Write in the comments what you think about the record. I'm really interested about your opinions. Once again, thanks for all the subscriptions and all of that. I really, really appreciate that, and I'm wishing you a great week. All the best. Stay safe, stay healthy, listen to good music, and I'll see you next time. Bye.